And that's your P bass, right?
Yeah, this is one that we made around a NAMM show about 5 years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago now, and it got a little bit, it got some damage to it, and so I didn't want to sell it because it had some damage to it. And then when I put it together and played it, I went, wow, this maybe it's a good thing I can't sell this one, because wow, it sounds really good. And so I've just kept it around as a personal instrument since then, as a demo instrument, whatever. And I went to Bass Player Live 2.5 years ago now, and Pino was there, so I got him to sign it. So he goes, oh, it's a really bad signature. I'm like, I don't care. Fine.
Yeah.
I'll tell people it's you, and they will believe me. So it's been anointed.
That's cool.
In that way.
And it just has a special something.
It's always had this wonderful fat warmth and focus.
And that's your kind of go-to studio bass that you use for...
I use this a lot for tracking. Yeah, if there's anything remotely take a P bass sound, this is the one I pick.
Okay, so that brings up a good point that I've found out, like 9 times out of 10, a P just sonically fits in that space. What do you...
Lately, I'm kind of like, even if it doesn't fit, I'm going to make the rest of the music fit around it, just because I love the way it sounds.
It just
so
sounds
much.
good.
Yeah.
And that's just general P, or that particular?
Generally speaking, P basses, I think.
Yeah.
They're fantastic.
I'm with you.
For tracking. The sound is so simple, but rich and full and broad, but it leaves room in the mix for everything else. You can hear the bass, but it doesn't fill the mix up.
To me, it's a weird thing, because you would think it's all bottom, but it's got that mid.
Yeah.
It's got that mid-range, perfect.
It does.
Place. So everyone should have one.
Right. Or a few.
Or a few. Yeah. So okay. So that was your Nordy 5-string P.
Yeah.
All right.
This is a 63 that a customer brought in, and we refinished for him. And it looked like an old deck. It was all split open and gray. So the body's alder, and we're pretty sure that's Brazilian rosewood. And it didn't have a pick guard or a pickup. It had like a mud bucker in it or something weird, and it was all routed out and screwed up. The bridge is original, the buttons are original, the neck plate, the tuning machines are original. But it had this crazy, wear on the neck, and the customer said, yeah, you know what, just spray on top of that. I'm like, what? That's weird. You want us to sand it off? No, just spray off. Okay, so we did that. I'm really glad we did, because it's still got all the visual character, but it's all shiny and glossy. And so we had it refinished in lacquer. And we made a plug to fill in where that wrong pickup was. And then the painter filled in all these huge cracks. Some of them you could see were like a ½ an inch deep.
Wow.
And, we got the parts back, and Mo put it all together, cleaned up the fretboard, made a new nut. And so we made a pick guard. This is our NP4V pickup. And these are new pots and knobs and the jack. And then I ended up with it through a fortuitous string of events, and even turn it up a little bit more here.
It's a badass bass, man. That thing.
Yeah, it's got something to it that we were talking earlier about. The pickup's a big deal, but man, the wood is still a massive, massive thing, and sometimes a bass sounds better, like that blonde one, that butterscotch one. It's an ash body and a maple neck. Why does it sound better than 80% of the other ash body maple neck VP5s that I've made? I don't know.
Just does.
It's one of those intangible things. That's one of the things I like about making instruments is you can't predict it. It's to some degree, it's always a crapshoot. Yeah. There's ways to control wood recipes and things. When you start laminating a lot of things together, gluing tops on and multi-pieces and multi-piece necks. You get a lot more control of the ultimate sound, but things tend to sound a bit homogeneous to me that way. I like the character of really simple solid woods, and when they come together in a beautiful way, it turns out there's something that's there that is pretty special. So
and then there's always the human element, the human touch, where you get 10 different guys playing the same bass. It's going to sound 10 different ways.
Totally.
Which, you know, is usually good, but can sometimes, I mean, it just depends.
Yeah,
but
well, you know, there's a lot of guys here in the shop who play, and every single one of us can usually tell from the next room over who's playing the instrument just based on the sound.
Absolutely.
Not necessarily the licks, even, just the sound. I mean, everybody has their same licks they play all the time. I mean, I do that all the time, you know, and get teased about it. Right? You know? But what are you going to do? It's what you do.
Yeah.
Everybody does it. So.
But it's the human that really makes it. But it's
it's the hands.
Yeah.
I mean, Mo that works here, he makes basses sound incredibly dark.
Yeah. So
as a result, he's gravitated towards basses that are really bright sounding. You know, he's got a composite neck and Bartolini's and a preamp, and he likes to have a real toothy sound because his fingers make a real dark sound. And so, you know, and that's a major component in how you have to sort out what you're after tonally. You know, how do my hands, what sound do my hands make, and how do I end up with a sound that's going to work, you know, in a mix or in a band or whatever. So.
And the nice thing is when you do get a bass that's just killing, then you can really hear the differences with people. And it's, I mean, if it's a home run bass, like wow, like it just sounds.
It makes a big difference. Yeah. You can stop worrying about your sound and just play. Yeah. You know, just go at it. Tones all the way off on there, yeah.
Tones all the way off, yeah.
There's a little bit. And then open. Oops.
Still sounds badass, man.
Yeah, it's got tons of versatility.
It's got a thing.
Yeah, it really does.
Cool, and that's a 63, correct?
63. That's my best understanding of it. That's what the neck says. So yeah.